Yo, how's it going? I got a tutorial for you here today on how to animate very simple idle battle stances, kind of like you would see in fighting games like Guilty Gear, Street Fighter, King of Fighters. More of the sprite-based ones is what I'm going off of, like the probably old King of Fighters where you just got a little nice bounce in your battle stance. That's what I'm going to be trying to go over today. So I created a simple four frame method to achieve this with stick figures and one that I could repeat over and over again. So my characters aren't just standing there on like a still frame, which I'm not a huge fan of personally. I'm going to be using Adobe Animate here with the brush tool, some onion skin action. Yeah, and here I'm trying to draw the battle stance. I just loaded up Animate, so I was like a little rusty for a second where I'm like trying to figure out a good stance and keep drawing it until I'm happy with it. Sometimes I'm a little too hunched over there. Uh, yeah, but I eventually found one I'm happy with here pretty soon, and then we can go over the actual method. I wanted to actually do this just mostly to test out my audio and the OBS software because I'm trying to get back into the swing of things and I want to do more of these tutorials and I just need to get my setup uh, nice and proper so I can do more. So let me know if this audio works, and if not, I'm using just a really old HyperX headset, so I could probably do better. But yeah, so here I got my battle stance ready. I created a movie clip. Uh, so I'm pulling the origin point down on frame 2. I shrink him down a little bit, and then I pull the origin point down again. And then on frame 3, this is where the magic happens. You pull him down a little bit more, and then you drop the arms and shoulders on this frame. And so what that does is it creates kind of like a secondary motion with like a little rubber band effect when it comes back up on the first frame. So frame 1 is the regular stance. Frame 2, you pull them down a little bit. Frame 3, you pull them down a little bit, and then you pull the arms down. So I'm using the lasso tool to just kind of highlight his arms. You could do this however you want, and then I'm pull the origin point down. I skew it down a bit, and then pull it down to where I'm happy with it, and then I'll zoom in and clean it up really quick with a brush. And this is frame 3. So you instead of just pulling your character down every frame and pulling him back up, that looks pretty static still. To have a secondary motion here, like the arms bouncing at a different pace than the body, you really get that more believable stance. And you could do the same thing with the knees and the legs. And like in that joint, I don't normally do that because I don't feel like it's super necessary, but it can add an extra flair to it as well. So on frame 4, I take frame 3 and I just pull it up slightly to get closer to that first frame, just to like an in-between almost. And and then I'll just extend it out like I was animating on ones there, and then I'll extend it out to triple quad framing this. So it's like 4 frames each. You know, it's an idle stance. You want it to be slower. You could probably do more than that, but I feel like this is a pretty good pace for a animation like this. This is my Nazul color palette. But yeah, so basically I'm just talking over my screen cap of this animation session I just did. Not really a lot of structure here, not really a plan other than just to hang out and chat about this method. And I definitely want to do more of this stuff, trying to get back into the swing of the community and get back into animation after long hiatuses over the years. So it's been fun. So I am going to start adding an outline with is it the ink dropper tool? I believe that's what it's called. Ink bottle tool. Okay. Yeah, and that's how you add, for those who don't know, easily add outlines to stick figures, provided you're using a brush and not using object drawing. Um, it's, I'm just basically using a brush and drawing on every frame, so no tricks to that. Just and it allows me to use the classic outline method that Tension and I made popular way back in the day. Um, I am now drawing the scarf on a layer above my character. I, fun fact is, Shuriken recently pointed out, I do draw, I think he pointed out on Twitter, but I draw my scarf on a single frame because after drawing scarves for thousands and thousands of frames, I don't really want to have to manage layers any more than I already do. And so instead of putting the top part of the scarf on an above layer and then the back part of the scarf on a layer behind the character, I just do everything on a layer above and I just kind of draw the gaps basically. It makes it a lot easier for my workflow and I can get a lot more done because I'm literally like drawing a scarf is like drawing another character. It's like, it's just, I love that secondary motion, but it's a lot of work. On frame 3 here too with the scarf, I'm adding in an extra secondary motion where it's actually bouncing up away. So the arms are kind of and shoulders are bouncing down, and on that third frame, I'm actually bouncing the scarf up a little bit as if his face and chin were getting tucked into the scarf on that bounce. Again, to create that rubber band effect a little bit where it's just more of an interesting movement instead of just it going exactly frame for frame with the character up and down. So it's a nice way to create some variance there. On the back part of his scarf, I'm just drawing, I think, in frame with him. So like as he's going up and down, the scarf is coming up and down. But I thought it would be cool to, and I often do with like the facial part of the scarf. I bounce that kind of against his natural bounce to give it that extra movement. But yeah, I mean, I've been using this method a lot recently just to avoid a character standing there because there's times in animations where they're just kind of standing there and I want it to feel a little bit more, I just want more movement on screen during those times. And so this is a really easy way to achieve that. There are probably a lot of other methods to do this. This is one that I've created myself. In probably the least amount of frames possible. So I think you could add in more frames than this. You could pull his fist down. You could redraw every frame, but I this is for speed's sake and it gets the job done. So, and I'm pretty happy with this method overall. I might refine it in the future, but for now, this is definitely going to be a vital part of my toolkit in my animations. If you guys have any ideas for next videos, next tutorial videos anyways, I want to start doing more of these and I want to get my setup dialed in, get this format dialed in. If you want to see, a quicker format where it's, more cleaned up, less me yapping over my screen recording, let me know. I always thought this was kind of fun because I feel like I'm just hanging out with you guys. Like, but also I know it can be frustrating when you're looking out on how to do something and you're not really just looking to hang out and you want to figure it out and you're like, hey, where in the video can I learn this? Why are you just yapping about everything? I don't want to be like that guy, but yeah, let me know. And so also ideas for tutorials would be great. I want to do a lot focused on the nuances and different intricacies in fight scenes. I mean, I'm always learning, I'm always getting better. I'm not perfect, but I've learned a lot and I'm kind of back into animation after a very long hiatus, many of them, and relearning and still learning. And it's been fun. And I just want to kind of share my knowledge and, hang out with the community a bit more here now that I'm having time to do that. So I think some ideas I have for next videos could be how to animate scarf, how I think about it, which could apply to capes, tails, any kind of article of clothing your character is wearing and has moving with the body. And also just different fight scene aspects like kicks, punches, strikes. So let me know what you guys want to see. Here in the video, I skipped over to some examples. I'm working on a tension animation, Tension Maru, and I have him in an idle stance here. I pulled from the animation. I have this demon character also that I pulled from the animation that he's fighting. And so I'm using the four frame method here as well. Uh, with the third, again, the third frame is that magic frame that just has to bounce down with the arms, and that kind of pulling those arms out of motion with everything else, it kind of brings a little magic to it. So yeah, I just wanted to pull these in for an example. It contrasts nicely against the character who is just standing there. You can see why this is a fun method to do, especially during slower parts in animation. But yeah, I think that's all I have for this one. Again, comment, let me know what's up, let me know what you want to see, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace out.